So we come to the next presentation, and it's a very common presentation for all the people who are working in laboratories and in the medical areas. Safety precautions in relation to dry blood spot sample collection. Now, after this session, we expect that the participants will be able to understand the standard precautions which are practiced in relation to a sample collection, personal protective equipments used in the procedures, understand the biomedical waste rules of 2016 and its amendments, and also understand handling and disposal of biomedical waste generated from DBS collection. The standard precaution as per definition is that is the minimum infection prevention practices that apply to all patient care regardless of suspected or confirmed infection status of the patient in any setting where healthcare is delivered. This is the CDC's definition. Mainly, this is directed at handling blood, other body fluids, and tissues to minimize the risk of HIV and hepatitis B virus infection. Now, the components of standard precautions is, they are otherwise also called general precautions for blood and body fluid. Hand hygiene, we will come to the details of this in the next slide. Use of personal protective equipments, careful handling of the swabs, safe techniques, disinfection, disposal of disposables or reusable material, adherence to correct hospital sterilization and disinfection protocols, and immunization against hepatitis B virus. Now, as you all know, that hand hygiene is very important in the healthcare facilities and in the processes. Always wash hand before and after removing the gloves. Never gloves can be a substitute for hand washing. Gloves need to be removed between patients to prevent patient-to-patient contamination. Handle used items with care and reuse only after disinfection, and disposal of the single-use items should be correctly done after use. As you all know, that availability of sink and running water is a very critical infrastructural requirement for facilities, and this should be ensured. Among the personal protective equipments, we call PPE, the laboratory coat, face mask as a surgical mask here, and the gloves are three important things which has been shown here. But we will see the details what type of personal protective equipments we use as regards this present exercise. Now, this is a matrix showing that how is the biomedical waste management protocols handle about the different types of waste and what type of containers. Now, although you know this in detail for different facilities, but our focus here will be about the red and the white color-coded bins. Now, in the red bin, non-chlorinated plastic bags or container will be the type of container where we will be using the waste that is contaminated, recyclable plastic waste, disposable gowns, damaged face shields. And what treatment we have to do before disposal is they can be autoclaved or microwaved, and certain items may require a pre-treatment also before handling, before it is handed over to the central biomedical waste treatment facility. Now, in the white category, this will be a puncture-proof, leak-proof or tamper-proof container, which will be disposing the waste metallic swabs, and it has to be decontaminated before being handed over to the central facility. Now, and then it should be followed by recycling as per the protocols. Now, personal protective equipment, that PPE, very critical for the microbiological molecular lab, like where we are doing for viral testing, is powder-filled gloves, because as it has been already stressed before that these are basically the PCR inhibitors, the powders, so we will not be using them. Laboratory gown is very important for as a personal protective equipment. Now, with the COVID-19 scenario today, now additional PPE will be required. Although we have listed three important items here as mask, to be used surgical mask, face shield for extra protection as it forms a physical barrier, especially as there is a risk of sneezing or coughing by patient at the point of specimen collection, and protective eyewear. But please remember that these are not exhaustive. and you must be following the COVID-19 PPE protocols of your institute or the current protocol which ICMR must be advising. Now, biomedical waste management processes, as all of you know, they are involving 4 stages. Stage 1, collection and segregation. Stage 2, storage and proper leveling. Stage 3, transportation. And stage 4 is treatment. Continuing with the biomedical waste management protocols, segregation is the responsibility of the person who generates waste. At your point of working, whatever you generate, you are responsible for putting it in the appropriate bins. All lab personnel must be trained and comply with the requirement of biomedical waste management rules. And biomedical waste management, safe disposal of biomedical waste is a part of hospital waste management. So the benefit of this is that it ensures health protection for the people, for the environment, and also it reduces the cost of healthcare by preventing infections and ensures biosafety for all the people involved in this activity. Now the guidelines are there, which are institution specific, sometimes local guideline, regional and national. In case there is a difference about the color codes or any area, the institutional guidelines should be prevailing because that is what has been finally accepted out of all the documents. Now we should also follow the latest guidelines on biomedical waste management rule of 2016 and all the amendments, including the one in 2018. Now, generation of biomedical waste from the DBS collection, our activity here, mostly the lancets will go to the SARP container, as I have already described before. And the soiled cotton, alcohol swab, gloves, soiled or damaged DBS card, gowns, and damaged face shield, all of these will go to the red bin. Decontamination or making 1% hypochlorite. Now, you know that this is one of the very important components of a laboratory practice. Now, 1% hypochlorite, which should be fresh because it loses strength, reducing the amount of available chlorine if it is left for time. So 1% sodium hypochlorite should be freshly prepared. Now, clear water should be used for preparation of hypochlorite as organic matter can destroy the chlorine. Hypochlorite solution is an irritant, so avoid contact with skin and eyes. Use plastic containers as metal containers get corroded by hypochlorite. And prepare hypochlorite in a well-ventilated area to prevent any contamination of your eyes and body surfaces. Now, preparation of 1% sodium hypochlorite solution, there are formulas. We will go through a table. Now, as you see here, if we are to make 1% sodium hypochlorite and you have a concentrated solution of 4%, then you know that. So 25 ml of this added to 75 ml of water, it makes a 1% one. And the same formula has been expanded depending on what amount you need. You need 100 ml, so this is the breakup. You need 1 liter, 1000 ml, then you will have 250 ml of 4% concentration and the 750 ml of water. Now, in the next slide, we have shown that if your concentrated solution is of 5% hypochlorite, then what is the formula? It's a very simple formula, and those who have been practicing it regularly in the lab is not difficult at all. But this is a ready reckoner for your reference. Thank you so much.